Hello, everyone. Welcome to APH Virtual Excel Academy. We are so glad to have you with us today. If you want, you can drop in the chat who you are and where you're from. We are so glad to have you with us today. Today, our topic is Let's Explore Coins. We are glad to have our friends with us today. As you're coming in, get comfortable. It's a little new today. We have someone providing sign language for you instead of captioning. Hope that helps. Welcome to APH Virtual Excel Academy. Today is Let's Explore with Coins. Hi, Donnie. Glad to have you with us today. I'm going to turn it over to Jessica Chamblin, who is going to help us explore coins. Hi, Jessica.
Hello. It is nice to be back today. So our schedule for today is going to look like, first, we do our welcome stretches. Next, we're going to go ahead and get settled into our first activity. After our activity, we're going to take about a 7-minute break. That's just to resettle, reposition, get ready for our last activity. After that, we'll do our stretches and we will be all done. So just to give you our materials that we're going to start with, one, we're going to need our coins. So we'll need our pennies, nickels, dimes, and our quarters. For our first activity as well, we will need our different containers that we're going to put our coins in. And if you're able to get an ice cube, I didn't have that on the list, but feel free maybe to grab one if you're nearby your kitchen. For our second activity, we have a couple of worksheets that we're going to use. They're not real intense worksheets. They literally just have the letters if you are a print reader. Or we have our braille cells if you're a braille reader. Or I put on there an egg carton. I'm actually using a cardboard seed container, and we're going to practice some of our letters with our coins. To give a little description, I am Miss Jess. I have blue glasses today. My hair is a bright, bright orange. And I'm wearing a burgundy sweater this time. And that's kind of like a mix between dark purple and red. This color reminds me of fall or grape juice or plums or berries. That's the sensation I get from this color. Now, let's go ahead and do our stretches. I have my rubber band as my symbol to let me know that it's time to do my stretches and get ready for this activity. We're going to do 3 stretches, the same 3 stretches that I like to do every time. First, let's put our arms straight out in front of us. And you can do this however is easiest for you. If you want to rest them on the table, go ahead and do that. If you like holding them up, go ahead. Or maybe someone's helping you and you need them to guide your hands across the table. That's perfectly fine also. We're going to count to 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Our second stretch, put your arms up above you as high as you're able to, or however is comfortable. If you need to rest your elbows on the table, that's perfectly fine. If someone's helping lift your arms, that's okay too. Set and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Our last stretch, we're gonna wrap our arms around ourselves like a hug. If you just wanna cross them a little bit on the table, you can. If you just set your hands on top of each other, that's perfectly fine too. It's whatever is comfortable for you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. I am ready. I'm settled. I've done my stretches, so I know it's time to go ahead and start my activity. For my activity, the symbol that I use is a piece of wood. I usually do my work on a table. So this lets me know that it's time to transition from my stretches to work time. I'm going to move over to my workspace and get out my coins. The first coins that I'm going to look at are my pennies. And right now, you can take the time to feel your coin. We don't put them in our mouths, we don't throw them. We feel them with our hands. And I'm placing my coin in the middle of my palm. And I'm noticing the weight of my coin. And it feels pretty light. When I touch my coin, it's mostly smooth. If I feel the edge of my coin, it's very smooth. If this movement is too hard, you can run it along the edge of the table or a tray. And when I listen to it, it sounds smooth. I don't hear any bumping or ridges on the edge of this coin. Pennies are different from our other coins because they are copper in color. Copper is kind of a mix between orange and brown. And orange is the color and smell of pumpkins, and brown is the smell of soil or earth or chocolate. Brown is a really rich color. So copper is a mix between those two, and it's shiny, so it catches the light and reflects it back. And our penny, if we were going to buy something, is worth 1 cent. The next coin is our nickel. And you can take as much time as you need to explore these coins. When I put it in my hand, I can tell that it's a little bit heavier than the penny. I can feel that in the middle of my hand. It's a little more dense. When I run my finger along the edge of my penny or my nickel, it's also very smooth. If this movement is too hard, run it against the edge of a table or a tray, and you can listen to what it sounds like, or someone else can do it for you to listen. It sounds very smooth to me. Our nickel is silver in color, and silver is kind of a gray color. Gray is like when it's raining outside or cold. I think of gray as a colder, darker color. But because it's made of metal, it's shiny. So when I turn it in the light, I can see the reflection of that light. If I compare my nickel to my penny, it's bigger than my penny. I can set the penny on top of my nickel, and I feel that there's a difference in size. The nickel is bigger. Let's look at our dimes. So dimes are a small coin. When I put it in the middle of my hand, I can tell it weighs less than my nickel. When I feel the edge of my dime, it's rough. If that motion is too difficult, run it along the edge of the table, and you can hear that it's bumping. It's not smooth like the penny or the nickel. My dime is also made out of metal, and it's silver. And silver is that shiny gray color. When I compare my sizes, I have my dime, my nickel, and my penny in my palm. I think my dime is the smallest. I'm going to set it on top of the nickel first. And my dime is definitely smaller than my nickel. Now I'm going to set it on top of my penny. And it is smaller, but these two coins are very close in size. One way that we can tell the difference between our penny and our dime without looking at them is to feel that edge of our coin. So if I have two small coins in my hand and I want to know which one is my penny and which is my dime, I'm going to feel the edge. My penny is smooth on the edge, or run it against the table or a tray. It's smooth. My dime has ridges. It's rough. I can tell my dime is a dime because of the ridges on the edge of the coin. Let's look at our last coin, which is our quarter. And this is the biggest coin that we're going to look at today. When I put it in my palm, I can feel that it's heavier than my dime. When I look at my coin, it's also silver. It's that gray color that's very shiny. That would be silver. And when I feel the edge of my coin, I can feel the ridges. Or if I run it against the edge of my tray, I can hear that it has ridges. Yeah, I bet some of you maybe already knew that the quarter and the dime had ridges. So if I compare the size of my quarter by placing it in my palm next to my dime, and then I'm going to hold my nickel and my penny, I know that my quarter is bigger. I can put my dime on top of it and feel all the way around it. So I also know that my penny, which was really close to the size of the dime, is smaller than my quarter. My quarter is bigger than my penny. So my nickel, when I put it on top of my quarter, I can feel that there's some space around it, but it's not a lot. I might confuse these two coins. My quarter is bigger, but not by a lot. One thing I can do is feel the edge. The edge of my nickel is smooth, so I know this coin is my nickel. And the edge of my quarter is rough and bumpy. So I know this is my quarter. We know that our coins are made out of metal because I told you. But one property of metal is that it kind of takes on the temperature of what's around it. So if you have an ice cube, I'm going to set my quarter on top of my ice cube for a few seconds and then see what happens. Do you think my quarter is going to get really cold, or do you think it'll stay the same temperature? We're going to see. Okay. So I'm going to put this on my palm. And if you don't like to touch things or have things put in your palm, maybe someone else will hold it first and you can just feel it. Whew. It's hard to show on camera, but my quarter is cold. It picked up the cold of my ice. And now the temperature of my quarter is really cold. So the metal, yeah, Claire, it's cold. So the metal of my coin absorbed the cold of my ice cube and also became cold. I'm going to hold my quarter in the palm of my hands, and I'm going to blow the hot air from my mouth onto my quarter and see what happens. Do you think the quarter will get warm, get cold, or stay the same temperature? And I'm going to put it against my cheek. And my quarter feels a little bit warmer. I bet if I had put it in some hot water, my quarter would have gotten hot. That's one way you can tell that something is made out of metal. Thank you, Clara. Yeah, it got warmer. You can tell something's made out of metal because it takes on the temperature around it. The last thing we're going to do for the first activity is really play with sound and our coins. Each of these coins makes a little bit different sound because of their size. So our quarters make a deeper sound than our small dimes make when they rattle against each other. So in our different containers, I have a plastic container. I have a silicone container. I have a glass container. And I have a metal container. You pick your container and pick how many and which coins you want to put in first. I'm going to put my dimes in my plastic container and then shake them around. No containers, you could use your hands. So hold your coins in your hands and cup them and shake them. Or someone else can do that next to you if this is a hard motion to do, holding your hands together and shaking. But that's another option, use your hands. I'm going to put my quarters in the metal container. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I will try. Whew. The metal container is really loud. The plastic container was less loud. It is very noisy. I'm going to try it in my glass container and shake it. That one was also really noisy, but the metal was the most noisy. Last, I'm going to try it in my soft silicone container. And let's see what this one sounds like. This one was much softer. It was the softest sound. That's because the silicone was absorbing most of the noise from our quarters. Okay. So right now we are all done with our first activity. If you want to keep playing with your coins and containers, you can do that during our break. But for now, we are all done. And I'm using a symbol. It's just a cardboard symbol with an X on it. That lets me know that I'm finished with this activity. And next, I'm going to get a break. And I'm using a soft carpet square. Whatever means break to you, use that. But this is my symbol for break. I'm going to play some music. It's just listening music. There are no words. If you want to get ready, if you need to use a table for the next activity to use some paper or egg cartons to make letters, go ahead and get that set up. You'll have about 7 minutes. When we are 2 minutes from coming back, I'm going to start doing some stretches and we'll be settled in and ready to do the last part. So at this time, you can go ahead and get ready for your break. All right, let's go ahead and start some stretches if you're ready to do so. I'm gonna put my arms straight out in front of me. Same as before, do whatever's comfortable. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Arms straight up above us as high as you want. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last stretch. Let's wrap our arms around ourselves. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. We are just about ready to get started with our next activity. I'm going to go ahead and end the music. And I have my worksheets set up. So first we have our braille cell. And if anyone knows what letter this is, go ahead and you can put it in the chat if you want. Kudos if you've got it.
What dots are dark, Jessica?
Oh, yes. The dots that are dark are dots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right, Donnie. It's Q. And we have our English print letter Q. And I also have my seed container. You can use an egg carton, so half of an egg carton, so you get your braille cell dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since we're working with the letter Q, I'm going to move over to my workspace. We should use our quarters because quarter starts with the letter Q. And for this activity, you can pick which one you want to do. I'm going to show you first, and then we can do it together. So I'm going to place 1 quarter in each dot. Dots 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4, and dot 5 to make my letter Q. Or I'm going to place my quarters all the way around the shape of the letter Q. Or I'm going to use my egg carton and put a coin in dot 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4, there we go, and dot 5. So let's do that together. You pick which one you want to do. And if you don't have these printed out, you can always write the letter Q on a piece of paper. You can draw your braille cell. Or, how else could we do this? You could just line up your quarters in the correct formation of the letter Q. All right. Place your quarters however you like them to fill up your letter. And if you want to put more than one in, you can do it that way. But that's the goal. We're just practicing the shape of our letters using our quarters. If you want to make this one extra tricky, You could always mix in another coin, and then you have to figure out which one's the quarter and then put it in the correct spot. I'm going to do it simply today. So I'm dumping some quarters into dot 1, into dot 2, into dot 3, into dot 4, and into dot 5. The next one I'm going to set out, and if you are going to stay on quarters, that's perfectly fine. You do not have to continue at the speed that I'm going. Also, if you're just watching, that's also fine. You do not have to participate if it's easier to listen and you're going to do this later on your own. So I have my English print letter D, my egg cartons, and then the braille letter D. And the dots that are colored in for D are dots 1, dots 4, and dot 5. 1, 4, 5 makes D. I have my dimes, and I know they're dimes because they're small and I can feel the ridge on the edge. And we're going to do the same thing. Finding that dark line or the dark dot, or feeling on my braille cell, where is my dot 1? Where is my dot 4? Where is my dot 5? And then just lining everything up. You pick whichever one is most fun for you. And then D. 1, 2, 3. Something I think is kind of fun is just filling the entire carton using each of your letters to make the braille letter. So if you enjoy making the entire alphabet and you like filling it up entirely to make the letter, that's a fun activity. If you don't like coins, if the texture bothers you, some other options that I use are bouncy balls, or pom-poms. So you can use a lot of different materials for this activity if you enjoy it. All right, we've done our quarters. We've done our dimes. And our next that we're going to do are our nickels. So I have my braille letter N, which is dots 1, dot 3, dot 4, dot 5. I have my English print letter N, and I have my egg carton. So I'm going to use my nickels. And if you want the extra challenge, mix up all your coins and see if you can find just your nickels Remember, it's the small coin with the smooth edge. And it might be easier for you if someone hands you the right coin and then you just put it down where it belongs. I've seen a lot of people do it that way instead of trying to figure out how to take one hand holding your nickels and then the other hand placing. That can be hard. And if they're on the table, it's hard to pick them up. You can use your finger to move it, to scoot it across the table and into its correct spot. All right, and N dot 1 dot 3 dot 4 dot 5 N. All right. I used pennies. No one told me I was using pennies for my nickel. I'm so sorry for anyone who caught that. I'll let all of you know. I messed up and used pennies instead of nickels. And I explained it wrong. But our nickel is our small silver coin that has the smooth edge, but is not as small as our penny. Well, goodness. We're going to go ahead and do our pennies next. It doesn't really matter what you use to cover your board, but I'm going to use pennies again for our penny activity. Even teachers make mistakes sometimes. It is a good lesson to learn. Everyone makes mistakes. And most of the time, if someone is able to do something really, really well, it's not because everyone else can do it really, really well. Most of the time, when adults are able to do some kind of task and it looks easy, it's because we've done it over and over and over again. I know sometimes we don't see other people in our classrooms struggle with an activity because we work with adults who already know how to do it. And we don't always get a chance to experience another student struggling until they figure it out. I think it's important to know that just because you struggle at something and you don't see anyone else struggling or you don't experience anyone else struggling, it doesn't mean that you're not able to do it. It just means that someone else had a lot more experience and opportunity to practice before they showed you how to do it. Okay. Our Braille letter P. The dots that are colored in are dot 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4. We have our English print letter P and our egg carton. So I'm going to put 1 penny on each dot. Dot 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4. I like the letter P in Braille because it looks like the print letter P. The print letter P has a straight line going down on the left. And then at the very top of that line is a curve out to the right that loops around and touches the middle of the straight line. Now my favorite one is the egg carton. So I'm going to drop my coins into dot 1, dot 2, dot 3, dot 4. That was our second and last activity. So what we can go ahead and do now is get our rubber bands because we'll do our final stretches. And after that, we will be all done. All right, for our stretches, arms straight out in front of us. However you are comfortable to stretch. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Arms up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wrap your arms around yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. We are all done. I am so proud of you, and I hope you're proud of yourselves. You did something new, hopefully. You had fun, hopefully. And you kept participating, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. You're muted, Mia.
Isn't that normal? That's a favorite line now. Thank you so much, Jessica. We played with lots of coins. I have to say, I like taking all different coins, putting them in my hand and shaking them. It makes a different noise than just all the same coin, which is kind of neat. I like that. So next week, if you're joining us on Tuesday, we're going to talk more about coins. We're actually talking about how you can sort and identify your coins. So this has been a great beginning lesson if you want to go further. It's called Money Masters. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about using public transportation. It's usually meant for our a little bit older students, but you're welcome to join if you want. And really thinking about the different types of public transportation you might take. On Thursday, just like today, we are going to take it slow and easy with something, but we're going to talk about taking responsibility for our environment. Reduce, reuse, recycle, which you've probably heard before. We hope you have enjoyed. We are happy you came and joined us, and we will see you next week. Thank you all. Goodbye.